Welcome to is supplemental of Inside the Scary Mind of a Writer, and I'm Adina Lev, the writer. Something recently happened, and it's been sitting on my head, and I wanted to talk about it. In case you didn't know my family background, I am Cherokee, Filipino, and Irish. The Irish blew me away. I didn't know until Ancestry.com how much Irish I was. Even that I had Irish in my family. I knew I was Filipino and Indian. The rest was like, who knows? Now we know. Uh, Sam is in her last few weeks of college. Yes, 10 more weeks and she will be a contributing member to society. Yes, we are generationally poor. Now we're not. No. Now the husband and I, we have carved out a life where we are upper middle class. And we worked hard to get there. I mean, scraping and saving, rolling coins to buy a gallon of milk out of the jar because it was tight. When you had three kids and you're living in New Jersey, where the cost of living is beyond, where having $60,000 job a year is not enough. That's where we were living. We were living in a typical white middle class neighborhood. That's what I achieved. You know, growing up, I was generationally poor. Anybody who knows things about being poor, generationally poor means that this is the way of life. You know no other way because your grandparents, your parents, everybody was poor around you. When I say poor, we had one measured glass of milk a day. It might be powdered milk, it might be low fat, but you had that one measured cup of milk a day. The rest of the time, you drank Kool-Aid. High C in the can. Oh my God, that was once a month when you got that welfare check in and you were welfare poor. For one portion of the month, you had money and you had food stamps and you could get high C. That's the kind of life we lived. By the time I was 12, I knew how to go up and down a neighborhood, case the houses that were on vacation, go in through the doggy door and clean the house out of food. That's how we made sure we ate when we didn't have any more food stamps and the welfare check was gone. Generationally poor. My mother was a survivor. My mother, my grandmother sold my mother to a Chinese restaurant owner. Usually I don't say anything about somebody's ethnic background unless it's germane to the story. Every month when that welfare check came in, my sister and I would say, "Can we get Chinese? Can we get Chinese?" My mother said, "No, I hate Chinese." Okay, you hate Chinese food. It wasn't until we were in our teens that she told us that the reason she hated Chinese food so much is that because her mother sold her when she was 9, 10 years old to a Chinese food restaurant owner. And every night that man would rape her after the dinner rush as compensation for feeding her and keeping her in a place to live at the back of the restaurant. Yeah. So my mother was emotionally stuck at 10. Any kind of traumatic episode in a child's life, whether it's the death of their parents, shake their foundation, rape, sexual assault. Children can sometimes become emotionally stunted and stuck at that age. So my mother was emotionally 10. She married my father when she was 16, had me when she was 17. And then her life started falling apart. When you marry that young, you don't know how to live. And she was just repeating a cycle that had been started 3 generations before her, all these teenage mothers behind her. So, growing up, I learned how to get out of poverty by watching TV. Seriously, I saw the Brady Bunch. I saw the different shows that showed me that there was more than just living paycheck to paycheck, more to life than just surviving. So I took that shit to heart. I wanted out of that. I did not want my kids, my future children, to grow up knowing how to break into a house, how to break into a car, how to stuff food down your pants so that you made sure you and your siblings had dinner and breakfast and lunch for the next few days. I did not want that for my family. I wanted more. I was looking at college. I was involved in the biomed program back in the late 70s to go to UC Davis. But to do that, I was going to have a place to live. Now, mind you, nobody in our family had gone to college like that out of high school. We didn't know about student loans, grants, dorms, nothing. College was such an unattainable dream. So I joined the military. And what struck me about being in the military is that for the first time in my life, I could have as much milk to drink as I wanted. I could eat vegetables till the cows came out. We had meat, and it wasn't ground hamburger. The military was a way out. And it truly was. I was afforded so many educational opportunities that when I did start having kids, my kids weren't stuck in a back seat somewhere while I went out hooking. My mother was a true working girl, even to the euphemism. She wasn't on a street corner, mind you. She was at massage parlors, modeling agencies, escort services. But she did what she knew to do to get food on the table to take care of her kids, and then take care of her kids and her drug habit, and then take care of her drug habit. Hmm. Yeah, people wonder why I don't do drugs because I saw what it does. My other two sisters, they have not learned how to get out of the survival generational poor mode. That's all they know. A couple weeks ago, Sam was telling me that she needed a job that Nate paid $15 an hour. I about slapped her. I said, no, you do not get a job that pays an hourly wage. You go in, you figure out how much you need. You go in and you tell your potential employer with your resume, I need $38,000 plus a year, plus benefits, and 2 weeks vacation. That's what I need to come work for you. People who think of an hourly rate, that's a job. People who think of an annual rate, that's a career. And that's what I wanted for my children, careers. The husband and I, he is first generation off the boat. Seriously, his father was born in Transylvania. Yes, it's a place. And I have to go visit because I want to say I've been to Transylvania. Ho, ho, ho. But anyway, his father was a jeweler. His grandfather was a tailor. And they were working class artisans, but they were still working class. Mike was in the Navy. He was a nuclear submariner in the Navy. I was in the Navy, not I was doing nuclear weapons, and well, that's a whole other story. But it enabled us to bank on the educational opportunities we had that led to jobs when we got out, that led to careers. So this young lad, to say I'm bougie, rubbed me the wrong way. Filipinos. In this country, we don't have a whole lot of Filipinos to emulate, to look up to. And in the Navy, you say you're Filipino, and you hear these sailors, oh, you know what I did in the Philippines? And it's all about the sex trade. Or in the movies, most Filipinos are the maids, the cooks, they are the servant people that are often dismissed. So we don't have a whole lot of people to look up to emulate, like I said. Brown people. Black people have been telling us this for years, but the brown people, not just the Hispanics, but the Filipinos and the Samoans, we're kind of overlooked. We, the Pacific Islanders, somebody once told me, they're the ghetto people of the Asian world. Wow, fuck you very much. No, I'm not. But then I looked around at all the people I lived around, and to find the middle class was hard, very hard. And the ones that were middle class had married into middle class. So, yeah, I've worked the farms, I've worked the fields. Tomatoes still bring back memories of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be at the fields, dirty, dusty, grimy, wearing flannel and hats, and picking tomatoes. And chicken fights at the different camps that we went to, because you have people who follow the product, to follow the produce, because every area has its own growing season. Anyhow, my point is, I know what it's like to be generationally poor, and I was not going to do that to my children. Somebody asked me if I'm happy. No, happy's fleeting. Happy is a new puppy, a new bauble, a new car, a new show. That's happy. I'm content. If God forbid my life stopped right here, boom, this is it. I'm good. I have achieved everything I've set out to do in my life. I have a roof over my head. I have a car in the driveway. I have wine on the shelf. My kids are contributing members to society. My grandchildren will never know what it's like to have to case a house and go in and break in to get food. They will never know that. We have made sure of that. So, this young man who says I'm bougie, no, I'm not bougie. I'm accomplished. I have pulled myself out of the gutter, out of abject poverty, and I am here now in front of my camera in a house that we own that's in the woods, but we chose where we live. Society did not say this is where you're going to live. We broke out of that mold. So, Mr. Chris, when Sam watches this and shakes her head, because she invariably will watch this and shake her head, I'm not going to let your presumption of us, your decision that we were bougie, affect how I look at you. You are a product of your family's influences. In Massachusetts, I mean, it's Massachusetts. Can't even say pack your car right. No, it's park your car. So I'm done with that. I will be in front of this camera on Saturday, hopefully with lighter attitude and not so much drama. And if you can relate to anything I've said, give me a thumbs up. Share my video. If you can't, hey, share my video anyway. Google my name, look up my books, buy my books, share my books. Anything to get my name out there. This has been Adina Lev, Inside the Scary Mind of a Writer, and I will be babbling at this computer later. Y'all be safe out there. Bye.